probably weren't expecting another live stream, but this will also probably be my last live stream for the time being. And a lot of you probably weren't expecting me to do another one at the caravan where I did my previous live stream, but for the 25th anniversary of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Hello? Oh, hello there. Welcome to the stream. Tank Engine Studios and Tyler M. West. Hun. I can see. I actually noticed that your profile is of Dr. Ivor Robotnik. Snooping as usual, I see. But, anyways, for the 25th anniversary of the first Thomas the Tank Engine movie. Hey, how is your day going? It's been pretty good. For the 25th anniversary of Thomas and the Magic Railroad, I decided to do a sort of live stream commentary on my mini-series based off of Thomas and the Magic Railroad called Lady the Lost Engine. And I'll also be pointing out some behind-the-scenes facts and other bits of trivia about it, and hola. Hello there. Welcome to the stream. Gadis Garcia Quintero. And judging by the title, this is also going to be a walkthrough of Lady the Lost Engine for the 25th anniversary of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. I actually was thinking of doing this on July 14th in celebration of the 25th anniversary of Thomas and the Magic Railroad, but I decided to do it today because I was trying to focus on getting part 4 of Road to Rail Museum out in time for the before the Audio Extravaganza 5. Let's see, 2 likes, 2 people. And before we dive into the commentary, I also like to point out that since I am back at the caravan, which is next to the Tallinn Railway, which is also where I filmed some of the scenes of. Which is also where I filmed some of the shots for Road to Rail Museum as seen here. This was where I filmed the scenes of Preston Station, which is my push along and which is represented by my push along and play rail Knapford Station, and over here was where I filmed the yards where Annalise trapped Gordon and Henry behind the trucks, which is also pretty much something I got from the Tugs episode Big Freeze. See, is anyone else joining the stream? Anyway, let's not get too completely off topic, and because I'm going to set up my phone that I'm going to be looking at the Lady Lost Engine series, and I'll also be trying not to do a accidental face reveal like I did last time. Also, my day has been pretty good. But with that out of the way, I am going to be starting the watch along, or well, it's not really a watch along; it's more of a commentary with the first one, with the first part of Lady Lost Engine with Unfinished Business. And also, despite that being placed after Don't Tell Donald and Douglas, which is based on both Don't Tell Thomas and the annual story Dalton Douglas, that was actually released in between part 2 and part 3. One person is watching stream, 2 likes. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's start with the first episode. And I'm trying my hardest not to do an accidental face reveal like I did last time. Let's rewind to the start. And I'm also using the glass case I got at the Fairborn Railway Gala that I plan to use at the that I decided to use as a display cabinet at the Oh, did you see unused CGI transfer yard found yesterday? Hold on, let me find that. Was that from like a deleted scene in Don't Bother Victor or Blue Mountain Mystery? Yards. I'm actually quite curious. Oh. Hold on, let's see if it will load. I've just found it on the Thomas Wikia. I'm thinking that I've just found it and sometime around production of the 16 series, and I'm actually kind of curious as to where the CGI photo of the transfer yards originated from. I'm thinking it must have been used for a promotional image in Blue Mountain Mystery. So how did the party go? Birthday. It did pretty good. I also got to meet Blacktron 07, and I also told him that about my YouTube channel that I'm planning on doing and since he was unable to go to the Orgy Extravaganza 5, I did tell him that I'm planning to do a video on it. But anyways, I was about to do a walkthrough on Lady Lost Engine, but I decided to, before I but before I did that, I had to check out this. I decided to check out this potential promotional image for Blue Mountain Mystery with the transfer yards. The scene here. Yeah, and I've got both of my phones since. So, okay, with all that out of the way, let's. And also, I'm not going to try not do an accidental face reveal like what I did in the previous stream, but anyways. And also, Frankfurt, I did indeed enjoy my birthday, and well, like what I said, I do plan to tell Blacktron07, I think that was his username, about the video I'm going to do on the Audi 5, but anyway, enough chit-chatter, and I'm going to start the commentary, or continue on with it, right about now. Oh, and there's my original profile that I used from... First off, you can see my original... Is Thomas and the Magic Railroad 2 before the Season 6 run, and Thomas Magic 3? That's kind of weird. I'm pretty sure that the Thomas and the Magic Railroad 2 and Thomas and the Magic Railroad 3 respectively are some sort of fanfic, well, some sort of like fan-made sequels, if anything, and I feel Thomas and the Magic Railroad is probably a canon of its own, like what Bryce Gum said. And for like first glance, you can see my original profile picture at the time the miniseries was made, which featured my OC in trains, but featured my OC / channel mascot in trains, but given how it was reskinned from a mess edit of the Donald and Douglas model from Trains model from Soda on 3D, you can tell that I had to change it since it was a mesh edit of one of Scarloey 123's models, and I stopped using them for obvious reasons. Anyways, there's the original profile from 2023 to 25. Also in the film's presents.
In 1952.
So yeah, I pretty much did that bit. Was pretty much a similar. The same thing as I did with the Flying Scotsman Centenary special that I did back in 2023 in celebration of Flying Scotsman 100th anniversary. And since it was meant to be Thomas and the Magic Road in the style of a Railway series books, because of it being split into 4 stories, I also started off with a friend of mine called Bluey the Narrow Gauge Engine has found photo in her post. Oh, I didn't notice that. I actually found out about that when I came across the when I had to look up the Thomas Wiki. And yeah, and here's the forward to it, the forward message to it, as per most of the Railway series books, minus the 3 railway engines.
Tourist boom on the island of Sodor following Queen Elizabeth II's visit, a new branch line was constructed. It starts at Maron and terminates at a town called Shining Time.
Oh yeah, this is talking about this is referring to the Shining Time branch line, which
She got into an
As I
accident
stated a
and was
couple of
hidden
times
away in the
before,
shed. Her
I
owner tried to repair
got the
her,
inspiration
but
for the Shining Time branch line from a video that Random Melon did called The Complete Thomas and Friends Timeline, where he combined the Railway series canon with the television series canon. Oh yeah, and there's the custom model that I teased in one of my community tab posts. And I'm pretty sure you probably might know who it is. Anyways,
go very well. But with the help of Thomas and Percy, they were able to help him out and keep it secret.
Okay, I know
Evil.
okay, I know I said that that the text there says her and and I said him. Oh, I'm pretty sure that was probably copy pasted from the script that I wrote for it. If I can get it up. Hello there, Stepney. Oh, hello there, Stepney11. I was doing a. I am doing a. Yeah, I'm doing a live stream a live stream commentary of my miniseries Lady the Lost Engine, which is based on Thomas and the Magic Railroad, in celebration of the original movie's 25th anniversary. And it's also not the only anniversary of a movie that I'm. And it's not the only video or live stream that I do in a. That's pretty neat. I know, and yeah, let's see, that was pretty much copied from the. That was copied from the original script, as seen here, but not the next portion.
Him out and keep it secret from an evil Diesel and his master. How were they able to keep it from them? Turn the page to find out. The author.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to mute this next bit here since, well, it uses a remix of the original intro to. It uses a rendition of the original Thomas the Tank Engine theme, the orchestral one from Upside Now for sort of sympathy, with complete with a recreation of the original Thomas the Tank Engine intro. This bit was also reused from the season 4 intro. And yeah, this is the second time I got to use this rendition of the. Can you show me some of your customs? I quite like them. I've only got one right up here, which I was gonna show off in a future episode of Malachi's Trains, which is pretty much my go at doing a replica of the Reverend W. Awdry's model of Duck, and here it is. I am going to talk about this model of Duck in great detail in a future video, which will probably be out after my video on the Awdry Extravaganza 5. Let's close look at the model. So, what do you think? And also, this is the only custom that I brought with. So yeah, this is also the only custom model that I have. Well, almost if you count this Duplo coal truck with a season 1 style face, and this brake fan with a face. And it's also something from a series that I did on YouTube. And this has also got a face, so it's I think a leftover from my series called Mr. Thompson's Railway. And it was one of the two series that I did in my early days on YouTube, although I didn't really post any episodes of Mr. Thompson's Railway onto YouTube because I didn't know how to edit videos at the time. But yeah, yours look great. Thanks. So yeah, it was like that, even though I didn't really put any episodes of it onto YouTube, and a series about Wilbert, although I unlisted most of the episodes of it because it was not really my best piece of work in my early days on YouTube, at least. So here's the intro. Are you going to Audrey 5?
Based on Thomas and the Magic Railroad by Brittle.
Sure am. Yeah, I'm going to Audrey 5. And I'm also bringing this model of duck with me alongside my models, the models that I've made of Thomas, Edward, Henry, Gordon, James, Percy, Toby, Donald, and Douglas, although Douglas was meant to be if the Reverend W. Audrey made a model of Douglas. And also, in one of the scenes, in one of the shots for the final part of Road to Rome Museum, I originally wrote that both models of Dalton Douglas were on display, but when I was setting up for that scene, I couldn't seem to find the other 3D printed Ertl miniature that I feel I'm literally the only person not going. Oh, you're free to check out my video on the Audrey Extravaganza 5 when it comes out, if you like. So yeah, I couldn't find the 3D printed miniature of like Donald and Douglas's basis that I got at the Tugs event back in September. So the second one that I got during the Tugs event with Top Hat's model was what I had was all I had. So I had to cut Donald out and had it as like Douglas himself, only just Douglas. So kind of like a reversal of like Audrey having a model of Donald without Douglas on his like Farquhar layout. I think the Scottish Twins basis is a Caledonian 812. Yep. They are indeed Caledonian 812s. And also, on the subject of when I couldn't find the other miniature Caledonian 812, because I went setting up for that scene and just narrowed it down to Douglas until I found the other one, but was unable to find the funnel, so I just used a screw for like the replacement funnel. And given what I said earlier, it was also kind of like a reversal of Douglas being made in no, of Donald being made in the motorized range in the style of All Engines Go without his twin Douglas, despite not appearing in All Engines Go. So yeah,
The Adventures of Thomas by Shane Acker, Josh Klosner, Julia Pista, Will McRobb, and Chris Picardi.
oh yeah, when I started writing this, it was originally going to be a rewrite of Thomas and the Magic Railroad, but in June of last year, after I heard about the full plot for the cancelled movie The Adventures of Thomas, I decided to incorporate some elements into it, but not all of them. Most because I felt the idea of Sodor being a world without trains, without any people was, well, a very stupid idea on paper. And yeah. And the whole, well, and I also thought using the Steam versus Diesel conflict as a sort of, as some sort of allegory for the Steam versus Diesel conflict was basically the Steam versus Diesel stuff in the Nitrogen era, but cranked up even worse. So some bits I took into consideration into it, like some of the other stuff that you'll see later on.
And Journey Beyond Sodor by Andrew Brenner. Story 1. Unfinished Business.
And also, because of the mentioning of Journey Beyond Sodor by Andrew Brenner, it was also when writing for the miniseries had started, I actually thought, what if I were to have Frankie be a part of the Diesel 10's gang in it. And some people thought that it might not be a bad idea, and I also thought it was a good idea, and I also came up with the idea of the scene with like James and Junior at the smelters yard being a hybrid between the scene where the steelworks. Hi, mate. Hello, brother. Hello, bro. Oh, hey, welcome to the stream. Also known as my commentary on Lady the Lost Engine. I'm doing this to celebrate Thomas and the Magic Railroad's 25th anniversary, and it's not only it's also not the only Thomas movie that I'm celebrating the anniversary for it, because I have a Sodor's Legend of the Lost, because I have a Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure rewrite with Ryan as the main protagonist in the works, and I hope you're all looking forward to it. And also, I've always thought about what if Frankie worked at the Ironworks with Arian Burt. Oh, I had the idea with Frankie and Hurricane working at the Sodor Ironworks. I think around the time, I think before my Thomas series came out, and I did have my own idea for, and I also had my own, and also back in like July of 2017, I had crafted out my own headcanon for Hurricane and my series before, like, 1 month before Journey Beyond Sodor came out. Anyhow, still having a bit of trouble with. Now I feel like slapping myself with a. Oh. She blocked me, long story short. Now I feel like slapping myself with a cinder block. Ooh. I feel really sorry to hear that.
The island of Sodor is located between England and the Isles of Man.
And also, here's the beginning bit with the music from the Tugs episode Sunshine. And also, funnily enough, in the prologue that I did for my Thomas series on my second channel was based on the opening of the Tugs episode Sunshine as well. Although I'm not sure if I should pull that up. There is another video I also thinking of bringing up, but well, the reason why I'm unsure about bringing up the prologue to my Thomas series from 2019 up was, well, merely because I have another video that I worked on that I'm planning to bring up, and not because of the someone making the doing something rather idiot like thing, like because like back in January 2023 someone did something pretty idiotic by commenting on my bad news video from 2020 saying, "I hope you can get another one, Mal," and he was like, and I ended up yelling at him for being that, saying, "You are 3 years late," given how he pretty much missed out on literally anything post season 1, like the last few television series remakes I did. Said hi. Oh, hey there. Sorry, no, I think I already said that. Six watching right now. And also in regards to the other video that I contributed, that will also be brought up when we get there. You can also see a little screwdriver over there in this scene. Like right here. Yeah. There's a little screwdriver right next to that set of points. And it is kind of like the pencil that was left in the original Magic Road movie in a way. Oh, and there's Rosie, who, well, is also one of the engines that appeared in this mini series, despite that she probably wouldn't appear in the original movies. It would have been unlikely for her to appear in the original movie since she was introduced in season 10 after Thomas Magic Road. And also this bit with Renius was some stock footage from my adaptation of Speed Killer that I did back in 2022. And it was also some unused stock footage that I filmed during the production of season 2 of my series back in November 2020. During the second COVID-19 lockdown. And that clip with Caldy and one of the mount one is watching right now. Oh yeah, and this shot with Caldy and the I think it's either I think that might be Wilfred. Yeah, and yeah, this is one of the few times where we have seen the Caldy Fell Railway in my series since. Was that the bite of 87? Yeah, this is one of the few times where we have seen the Caldy Fell engines in my series, because they haven't really appeared that much. Like, one of them appeared in the first episode of season 3, and then they appeared in my Christmas special, A Caldy Fell Christmas. Caldy then appeared in the Railway Fair, and, well, and Caldy makes an appearance in this scene, and the Caldy Fell engines are also set to make a cameo appearance later on in the final part of the movie. And also, this clip of Rex is also not only unused footage from. Not only this clip of Rex is also unused clips from. It's not only this shot of Rex is like unused footage from. Unused footage from season 3, but it was also from. But I think that was also meant to be for. Well, I'm not sure if it was like unused footage, but it was also meant to be for Eddie and the Gnomes, because originally that episode was originally written for Rex, but I later changed it to Eddie so that I can give him a lead role, and how he arrived on the island of Sodor.
It has also been famous for being featured in the Reverend Wilbur Torgie's book series called The Railway Series, and the television series by Little Croft and David Britton.
Rest in peace. May Brittlecroft rest in peace. Still at work with another short film. Might squeeze Blake Harquin somewhere for a guest appearance. Oh, I managed to get. Blake Harquins did appear in my 80th anniversary of the Railway Series special as Rebecca the Yellow Engine. Although Rebecca isn't actually yellow in my series, she's painted green. Basically, when Rebecca was first revealed, I wasn't really a huge fan of her red livery. No, I wasn't really a fan of her yellow livery, and if you don't know who Blake Harquin is, she's the former Boris fangirl. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, I remember back when she was known as Boris fangirl in some of Simon's Cardolic 44, aka Simon's Cartoon Studios' videos, namely with stuff like Second Co, where she did the voice for Unikitty from the Lego movie. And the Sudrine Zero was also the one who recommended Blake Harquins as the voice for Rebecca. So yeah, and given how I stated I wasn't the biggest fan of Rebecca's yellow livery, this actually dates as far back as to when Rebecca and Big World Big Adventures was first announced. Yeah, I was more bothered about Rebecca's livery instead of, well, the fact that she was brought in as the replacement for Henry in the Steam team. And I also did a reskin of, and I also recolored James Fan 1991's sprite of Rebecca into how Rebecca should have looked like. Mostly because I felt Rebecca should have been painted Southern Railway green like Blackmore Vale on the Bluebell Railway. So yeah, I like Rebecca. While I do like Rebecca, I like Rebecca's basis, but I just wasn't a fan of her livery. This clip of Bill and Ben is also reused footage from the cancelled episode Ben Goes Backwards. You probably may know that I had done a video on that. Rebecca's a big, clumsy engine in my headcanon. Often times anxious but trying to be independent, though she is charmistic and easygoing, so kinda like a female version of Warrior from Tugs in a way. Or Ned from The Pack. Oh yeah, and this shot is also... Fun fact, the reason why she's painted yellow is because it reminds her of the sunlight. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, and this bridge was also meant to be one of the bridges seen in Season 1 of the original show. Oh yeah, and unlike the original... Oh yeah, compared to the original film, this scene takes place at Elsbridge instead of Killabarn. I think I originally was going to have it take place at... I was originally going to have it take place at Knapford as per the original script.
Northwestern Rail.
Oh yeah, and this shot is also taken from the original movie, but I got rid of the Sodor Rail and replaced it with Northwestern Railway. So pretty much to have it more line up with my Thomas series.
Really reliable and right on time. Signed, head of the railway, Sir Stephen Topham Pratt.
Oh yeah, and Thomas mentioning Stephen Hatt does clarify that this miniseries does take place back when Sir Stephen Hatt was the controller of the Northwestern Railway, since this takes place in 1992, in between Henry and the Express and Wilbert the Forest Engine, and my upcoming Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure rewrite takes place in between Thomas and the Fat Controller's engines and New Little Engine and Thomas and Victoria, mostly due to the fact that in my series, Thomas and Victoria takes place in 1996, like in NWR Tales, and Bryce Gumb's headcanon Thomas and Friends timeline that he posted on his DeviantArt account.
Northwestern Railway. Really reliable and right on time. Signed, Head of the railway, Sir Stephen Topham Hatt.
And also, in my series, Sir Richard Topham Hatt became the new Fat Controller in 2009. And also in my series, I've probably already said this, but Richard Hatt became the new Fat Controller after Sir Stephen Hatt stepped down as controller in 2009. So pretty much kind of like pretty much copied from Wild Nor'Wester's series with Sir Stephen Topham Hatt stepping down and Emily Helen Hatt becoming the new controller.
I think we can take care of ourselves.
Oh yeah, and as seen in the outtakes and deleted scenes video, this was originally filmed outside, and she loves washdowns because the bruises the workmen use tickle her. She pulls commuter trains oftentimes and finds it fun to pull goods. While easygoing is naive, you can kind understand. Oh, I see. And the reason why I had to refilm this scene with my new sky backdrop was mostly because, mostly due to that I ended up repainting mostly because it was filmed before I repainted my Diesel 10, which is the one from that lot that my friend Tom told me about.
Who was that?
That is Diesel 10.
Oh yeah, and Boko is also present in this scene compared to the original Magic Road movie. And also, there's 2 Sir Bertram Topham Hatts in my headcanon. Oh, nice. In my series, Sir Bertram Topham Hatt was Sir Topham Hatt the First, and I also headcanoned that Sir Bertram Topham Hatt's father was called Derek. Kind of like that one quote in Sir John Gielgud's Railway series narrations where he said the Fat Controller whose name was Derek. So that was something I kind of decided to incorporate, given how Sir Bertram Hatt was Sir Topham Hatt the First in my series. Oh yeah, and
In the past,
oh yeah,
we
and
made steam engines.
since Boko is present in the scene compared to the original film,
Maybe we...
while I was at Fly Cheese Studio in the I think Saturday AM group, the Saturday Modeling Club, I think what was it called? I was talking to one of the Donahue brothers about the amount of about some of the engines that didn't appear in the movie. Like, I know he mentioned Trevor and Terence and Edward, as well as exclaiming my own headcanon as to why Edward was not present in the original film. The first Bertram Topham Hatt was one after Glyn Topham Hatt, and the new Bertram Topham Hatt is the son of Sir Charles Topham Hatt, the current Fat Controller. Oh, interesting. So, kind of like in my own series, where Sir Richard Topham Hatt is the current controller of the North Western Railway. And I did also... So, he's kind of Sir Bertram Topham Hatt II. Oh, interesting. Oh, and on the topic of that, he also mentioned, not just Boko, but also, Daisy, Bill and Ben, and Diesel, and I also explained the reason why Edward wasn't in, the reason why, also talked up, partially the reason why, Edward
You
wasn't
missed the
seen
star
in
here, after all.
Lady of the Lost Engine until the last story outside of mentionings. Oh yeah, and there's the Annie that I use for Thomas's special coach, aka Isla. I also got the name Isla from the Berry Truck story, A Fright for the Twins, and I also did an adaptation of that last year, but I'm not sure how much notice it got though, besides like it being featured in a playlist of the Berry Trucks adaptations of the Berry Truck story. And also that's the redone shoots of the scenes at Elsbridge were also filmed alongside an adaptation of alongside my final adaptation of one of Scarlowy 123's stories. Someone confused the name Elsa for Isla Fisher. Oh, I see. So yeah, and that was filmed alongside my very last adaptation of one of Scarlowy 123's stories, because given the horrible action that Scarlowy 123 had done, I will no longer be adapting any more of Scarlowy 123's stories. This also includes Sodor Dark Times, despite that I did do some trains photos based off of Carl Matthews 08 and Carl Matthews 08, who voiced Luke in The Smokeboxers Engine, A Coldly Felt Christmas, Mike Gets a Fright, and The Runaway Trucks, and Everything Productions 2004. The latter also got removed after he heard about the horrible action he had done. Oh yeah, and there's the NCB truck from Raw Series, and now we get to the scene at Tidmouth Sheds. Also, this music cue from season 1 is also this music cue was also the only music cue from this music cue from SA Music is also the only theme in the style of Mike and Junior's music from Thomas to be included in this, because NCB is named Pesk by the other engines. That's interesting. So yeah, and also about the other piece of music from in the style of Mike and Junior's music in Thomas. I'll actually get to that later, but the reason why that music cue was the only music from Mike and Junior that was in the style of music from the first 2 seasons of Thomas to be included in the entire miniseries, besides the Dear Christopher theme from the the Nick Jr. airings of the Hit era, plus the Engines and Escapades DVD, was because I was going for I was trying to make it feel more like a cinematic movie by including music from not just the original movie, but also music from Tugs, 101 Dalmatians 2, Patches on an Adventure, Robin Hood, The Rescuers, Wallace and Gromit, and Mr. Ben. Oh, and here's Diesel 10. O-Face! Oh yeah, and there's my... Oh yeah, and there's my recreation of the O-Face. Do-do-do. And also the Thomas O-Face is also... And also the O-Face is also one of my favorite Thomas-based memes, alongside the Fat Controller laughed. You are wrong. And Scarlo's "What did you do?" from Blue Mountain Mystery. Because those three are my favorite Thomas-based memes. Although there are some that I'm not really... Although there are some Thomas memes that I... Well, the Spyful Break fan was nicknamed Devil in my headcanon. Oh, interesting. Oh, and also recreated Thomas's O-Face in this shot. As in You Cheeky Devil. Interesting. I still quite like how I voiced Diesel 10 in the style of Kieran Reeves, especially in my rewrite. Oh, that's glad to know.
I've come to help Bruno find the lost scheme, and I'm going to destroy her and dominate you.
Oh yeah, and over there on my... And over there in that carriage shed, there's also the custom LNER teak coaches that I got off of Numpty Pootis 8012 back in 2021 when he was auctioning off his custom, like, cousin Stewie Bluebell, based on the Ertl Bluebell, and his take along to Trackmaster modder Fergus, plus the... And he also threw the LNER coaches in because no one else was...
Still go, yeah.
Wait a minute, use for ages. You won't dominate us. We won't let you. And neither of us to start. I'm going to collect him now.
We're lost, don't you? But most importantly, who is Bruno?
And also, as a slight spoiler for my Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure rewrite with Ryan as the main protagonist, in the scene where I also wrote that, like, when Thomas overhears Ryan talking to Sailor John at night, he assumes Sailor John he assumes that Peter Travis Barnum has returned to Sodor, and yeah, I'm using my free realm model of Duck as a substitute for Thomas. Want to know a fun fact? Recently made another custom. It's a whole class I named Colby. Oh. Well, that's a very interesting fun fact. So yeah, I'm using my Railway Series Duck as a substitute for Thomas. Like, you must be working for Peter Travis Barnum. Who? Don't be stupid. I know you're working for Boomer. Wait, sorry. Boomer, Travis Barnum, are they the same people? What does it look like? Oh yeah, and this is pretty much what resulted in Ryan tricking Thomas into... Thomas tricking Ryan to taking a bad call as per the original film, although I also included Patrick the Cement Mixer in the rewrite, and Patrick is also one of the three characters that is in the rewrite that wasn't present in the original film, alongside Neville. He has Henry's scaredy persona from the original film, from the original movie, since I'm not really the biggest fan of Henry's persona in the CGI series. And Jock is also included, but I'm currently debating as to whether I should do him in my in my normal voice, or if I should do his voice in the style of, well, in the same voice that I gave to him in Sodor Railway Studios' series, which is based off of Billy Shupak's voice from Tugs. I've seen in his episode Red Engine Rivalry, for those of you who haven't seen that episode. And yeah, and also Thomas doesn't get scolded by the Fat Controller in this rewrite, but he does feel guilty knowing that he probably caused the demonstration. Oh, you must be talking about my... Well, you're talking about my jock voice in the style of Billy Shupak that I gave to him in Sodor Railway Studios' series. Okay, oh yeah, and like, road your rail, what do I care? And yeah, that was basically how I, like, road your rail, what do I care? And, calm down, Mike, I was only chasing. So yeah, and that is basically, the voice I gave to Jock in Sodor Railway Studios' series, Sodor Railway Tales, for those of you who have not seen the episode Red Engine Rivalry, but if you haven't seen the episode, I recommend you check it out.
Because Edward was at the works having an overhaul.
Oh yeah, this bit was also my exclamation as to why Edward didn't appear in the movie. While most people assume he was must have been the Fat Controller's private engine while he was on his holiday, I came up with the idea that he was away at Croven's Gate having an overhaul. And so, warning, you've used... Oh yeah, I just got a message about my data. Not sure how that's gonna affect the stream, but... Yeah, that was pretty much my exclamation as to... It's also my exclamation as to why Edward wasn't in the original film. Like, while he was away at Croven's Gate having an overhaul, Rainbow Sun was looking after Edward's branch line for him.
Another engine had been hanging up for the day.
Oh yeah, for the day.
This engine works on the Shining Time branch line which opened in the 50s, and is called Rainbow Sun, who was rescued from Barrow's scrapyard for the branch line, but she didn't know that she was not the first engine to work on the line, however.
Oh yeah, and this is how...
You've both been doing a wonderful job at looking after Edward's branch line while Edward is having an overhaul.
Glad to hear that, Boko.
And also, this is how Rainbow Sun... This is my headcanon for Rainbow Sun. I suppose that's why the hippopotamus overlords don't exist. Oh, okay. So this is basically my headcanon for Rainbow Sun, where she was like a... Not only she's also a Sodor engine, due to Shining Time being located on Sodor in my series, but it's also basically... But she's also based on a LNER B16 compared... Yes, and I know that's ridiculous. Oh, okay, And also, like what I said in the Malachi's Trains episode of Rainbow Sun, the Trackmaster mic that I used to make her was previously a
Maps of the branch
custom...
line, and I was wondering if there was an engine on it before.
Was previously a custom Trackmaster Bert before I got the... Before I decided to use the Capture Player Rex mic and Bert in my series.
Which makes the line so magical. Well,
Oh,
I
yeah,
missed the off
sorry, I got my
shine time.
hand in the way.
I promised Mr. Stowen that I would help clean out his yard today. Come on, Pat. Let's get you to Marin.
Oh, there's Oliver and Toad.
Oliver was on his way to Marin when he saw something in the distance.
Oh yeah, and also and I also got. Hold on, and here's Roderick and Levi, the two diesel engines that tried to track down Oliver.
I thought I already saw you at Wellsworth.
And here's Johnny Cuba's theme playing.
As Oliver took a closer look, he then recognised who it was.
Sorry, mate. The wind must have blown me off course. Ah!
No, Dan! What is it, Mr. Oliver?
It's the two diesels that tried to track us and Isabel down when we were on the run from Scrap.
Very moving. Isn't that the
Oh yeah, and this set where, and also this siding where Oliver hid in to avoid being spotted by Roderick and Levi was actually Hero's second hideout from Hero of the Rails, as well as I think it's also one of the few locations from the CGI series to be present in this mini-series, because I know Hero's first hideout also appears later on with Bill in the scene with like Bill and Ben looking for Lady.
We tried to track down, along with his other great team. We can't stop to look, or Boomer and the boss will not be happy about us being late. Toad could see that Oliver was very scared by the thought of them being on Sodor. He hoped that they wouldn't go near him. Patch, on the other hand, was puzzled. Once I
Oh yeah, and the engine that I used for the close-up is Oliver is actually the Greendale rocket from Postman Pat, but photoshopped dark green, as you can tell. As evident by the number 11, which was done in Microsoft Paint.
arrive at Brenner's workshop, I think I should ask him who Boomer is. Also, Toad.
And I also did that again with...
Boys that Mr. Oliver wished to never see again. They tried to catch us and Miss Isabel.
And I also later did the same thing.
They wanted to scrap us.
And I also used the Greendale rocket again for the cab interior shot for Percy later on.
So that answers one question, but raises another.
Which one?
About this Boomer.
Well, truth be told, I'm unsure on who Boomer is.
Oh yeah, and like what I said earlier, Peter Travis, well, Barnum will get a mention in Legend of the Lost Treasure, like with... After the whole Dynamite incident where Thomas was feeling guilty about tricking Brian into taking the bad call because of how, well, fed up he was with his overinflated ego, and feels that he probably caused the extension to Harwick to delay following the Dynamite incident. He does have a talk with Edward about it. So apparently there's a 3D Black 5 shell on eBay. Oh, interesting. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get it because I'm not sure if they will ship. Operated by a Tommy Spencer Sachet. Random, right? Yep. Yep. A pretty random choice, I must add.
I'm unsure on who Boomer is.
So, and basically in, like, that scene, like, with the scene with, like, Thomas talking to Edward about how he was feeling bad about, well, potentially causing the extension to Harwick to delay, and accusing Ryan for working for Peter Travis Barnum when accusing Ryan for working for Peter Travis Barnum was actually Sailor John. Edward does tell him that Peter Travis Barnum did end up dying from falling off the Big Dipper, and I'll explain why in the special, but when we get to that. But basically, like, after being looking through Rue's restorations, by the way, oh yeah, I've seen that. But I'm not sure if Rue's restorations does do international shippings. Mostly following when I tried to purchase a 3D printed Derek body shell to update my Derek custom so it wouldn't be a reskin of Salty. Until I found out it didn't ship outside of the US, and I had to purchase another DD51 for Derek 2.0. And this was also the first time I used my... And this scene was also the first time I used my Bachman Terrence in my series. And the ironic thing is that he did a whole 3D shell, which I made one from a Player L. Henry, which was actually easy. Oh, interesting. I have considered getting Hogwarts Express for a custom of Earl of Sodor from the train's website, Vickerstown Transport, as stated in the previous stream. And this clip was also the first time I used the Bachman Terrence in one of my... Well, in my series, because it was in this scene and the... And Don't Tell Donald and Douglas, which is a rewrite of Don't Tell Thomas. It was also based on the annual story Donald and Douglas because of the inclusion of like Terrence and Stepney in it. And it's Frankie, voiced by...
Wasn't our fault.
And the dumb thing is he makes custom making look like Charles Play. Yeah. I have been doing a lot of... I have been attempting a lot of times to make customs of engines that weren't seen in Thomas, like with with Caledonian Railway 123 in the form of Annalise from Road to Railway Museum, and Becky, who was made from which used to be my custom Alfred, and my work in progress Vicky, which is being made from a Trackmaster 2 James that I got for my birthday. And I'm also I also used the tender from the Trackmaster 2 Henry that I used for my custom of Peter from Wild Nor'Westers series, Soda the Mod Years, that I haven't shown off. Might get the box fans and the Soda Air repair. Which, fun fact, I was planning to make myself until I realised I had absolutely no idea how to make the plans. In my series, I mainly used the Thomas Wooden Railway Sodor Railway repair. Well, I actually got two toys of the Sodor Railway repair in Thomas Wooden Railway. There was the first one that I got for my birthday without the little trucks. And then I got another one after my birthday that features the two wagons as seen in my series. And also the Sodor Railway repair is called Hudson in my series, which was previously used for a tender engine called Hudson. But I was unsure how I was going to make a model of Hudson, of the engine that Hudson was based off of. Oh yeah, and Liz is also voiced by Liz Productions 5784 in the scene.
We had to wait for one of those puffballs to pass, and it appeared to be the one that we tried down years ago, along with his little bracelet too.
You can also see Speedy Gonzales from Looney Tunes on that car. And there's the horrid lorries facing away from the camera. Since this was before the horrid lorries returned to Soda in my series, I was basically having them facing away from the camera. And the fact that I was very limited on parts. And with my birthday coming around the corner, maybe... Oh, I see. This clip of... And also, this clip of Mavis was... And also, this clip of Mavis is... Hold on, Oh yeah, and there's Mavis thinking, I wonder what those guys are up to. And also, this bit right here was also pre-filmed stock footage from the episode The Quarryman's Coach, which features the Quarryman's Coach from the Reverend W. Audrey's layout of the Farquhar branch line. Also, fun fact, the rail repair is given the name Clarence after the second illustrator for the railway series. Oh, interesting. Oh, no, splattering Dodge. Whom in which in my series are painted in the same colour as the CGI. Well, who are also painted in the same livery as the mainland diesels in the scene in the Great Race. But it's kind of going to be a draw. There's a powered repair and a non-powered one. If Ruse I'll probably go with the non-powered one if Ruse Restorations do ship outside of the US.
Time to say Bolton name.
That's enough. Anyway, the reason I'm here is...
Oh yeah, and there's Peter Travis Barnum. The head for Peter Travis Barnum was reused from The Evil Conductor, who was based off of Mr. Conductor's evil twin from Shining Time Station for a project that I previously took part in. They do, I think. Oh, I actually did consider getting, Oh yeah, Ruse Restorations also made, 3D prints of a Caledonian Railway Pug, which is the same basis for my OC Tasha, who is based on the Cali Pug, as evidenced by the model that I made for her out of my childhood Hornby Smoky Joe. And he also made a 3D printed body shell of Ernest the Engine Car, although I was unsure about that given how I previously made a custom of Ernest the Engine Car out of Dart. And I also made Stevie the Steam Train out of Hong Mei with a knockoff Trackmaster Bill or Ben face. And I have also made... And I did also make Gale the Guards Compartment out of... And lucky that they're selling 3D Flying Scotsman's tenders, even though I successfully made my own. Oh, interesting. The only Trackmaster 3D print that I have is... The second tender is ridiculously easy. Oh, I see. And basically the second tender was... No, basically, Trackmaster 3D printed thing that I've ever gotten was the 3D printed Daisy body shell that you've seen throughout most of my series. That you've seen throughout the majority of my series. And I also got that Daisy body shell from Shapeways before they went defunct back in 2024, last year. And also, in the original script, Oliver was I think Roderick originally said 1436, and this was before I changed Oliver's pre-Sodor number to 1472 in my series, after I got inspiration from James Fan 1991's headcanon of Oliver. Like what I said in my video on the Railway Series weekend at the Tallinn Railway, and my review and test run of the 2020 of the new motorized Flying Scotsman and Duck. When I was doing the side-by-side comparison between when I was doing the side-by-side comparison between the Duck and the Trackmaster Duck that I use in my series.
On this island, I got her into an accident, and now he's spending years trying to repair her.
When we finally get our buffers on her.
Heck, the current 3D shell I have is the Oliver shell and sachet from Magic J Road Films. I think I've actually seen that Oliver 3D printed body shell, and I actually thought, since Tomy Oliver is overpriced on eBay, what if I were to get some of those and use them to make customs of the red Oliver and the purple Oliver, as seen in the Big World Big Adventures era? Although I think the Big World Big Adventures era, and both the Big World Big Adventures era and the Hit era ones are the two eras of Thomas that I can actually sit through without getting so frustrated, compared to the Nitrogen era. No poop. I was lucky to get another one from my mum. How? Bidding. Oh yeah. Kind of like how I got my Hornby Emily and the Hornby Spencer that I got for my birthday that I showed off in the previous stream.
I like the sound of that. We would also be able to scrap that Westerner that escaped us once before.
Well, there's one small problem, boss.
What small problem, to be exact? Well, Mr. Star is coming and he won't let
It
you
was
destroy her.
not easy.
Yeah, he won't let you.
Oh. I guess I was fortunate enough to get a Tomy. I guess I was fortunate enough to get a new Tomy Oliver back in 2018, because my original one was in very poor condition. And one of them also had... And also one of the side rods came off when I was a child, when I... Heck, I was completely unaware until the package arrived in the mail. Oh yeah, and... the reason why I bought that replacement Motor Road and Rail Oliver was because my original one was in very poor condition, and one of the side rods came off, which I used to recreate, which I previously... Although at first I wasn't too bothered about that when I used it to recreate Escape. And I also included... And I also included Spencer's coach to represent Isabel, because I was having it more like the Railway Series version.
Well, who cares? We can do whatever we want.
I'll get him too. Ow, Pinchy! I hate it when you do that.
Meanwhile, Thomas was on his way to collect Mr. Star.
Oh yeah, and this scene is also ironic. And speaking of like Motor Road and Rail Oliver, I did also get another one in a lot a couple of years ago. Well, back in 2021, alongside the I think Roller Coaster Mountain and another Trackmaster 2, Charlie, that I used for either Poppy or Pete as seen in the Railway Fair. Although I actually made the customs of Cub, Poppy, and Pete before the Railway Fair was even written or filmed. Oh, I'm also gonna get myself a drink from the fridge. Some water. Despite what usual Luke said in his review on Calling All Engines. And yeah, this scene is also a replacement for the scene with this scene. Yeah, screw it. I'ma get it.
I heard talk from the staff at Shinington that
This scene was also a replacement for the scene with Mr. Conductor and Billy, mostly Mr. Conductor and Billy, mostly because I was trying to cut down on mostly because I was trying to cut down on most of the human scenes from the original movie, which was one of the reasons as to why the movie didn't do very well in the box office.
Well, I think you should ask Burnett about it, since he was on the branch line prior to you being rescued from scrap. That's a...
Oh yeah, and Billy Two Feathers. Oh yeah, and Billy Two Feathers also. And also, Billy Two Feathers also doesn't appear on screen in this at all, mostly because, well, mostly because of how he was like talking through mostly because of how he was like mostly like leaning through like Rainbow Sun's cab while talking. Although, as a little spoiler for the final part of Road to Railway Museum, Billy Two Feathers, along with Stacy Jones and Horace Schema, it's genius time! Oh, I just got done for my mum for saying that.
It's very hot.
Yep. Ironic since Tatma had little with Thomas, while Transformers felt like a homework assessment, which was incredible. So yeah, as I was saying before I got rudely interrupted by my mother for saying it's genius time at full blast, Billy Two Feathers, along with Stacy Jones and Horace Schema, will appear in the final part of Road to Railway Museum, although basically what I did was I took MH 1994's train models of them and like remove the background and put them next to Rainbow Sun.
I hope he isn't too upset about it. Thomas soon arrived at...
Oh yeah, there's Caitlin, another one of the characters who appeared in this miniseries despite not being introduced until the...
Do you like that?
Uh,
It's the last bit of your cake. Birthday cake.
mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Sammy Clark made Horace Schema a baddie in an episode of his series. Oh, interesting. And the hilarious part is he is larger than the engines. Oh, interesting. I actually haven't seen that short from Sammy Clark. Although I did bring up his reading of the Satop and Hat's Day Off creepypasta while I was at the Railway Series weekend at the Tyler Lynn Railway. And while we haven't seen Horror Schema in my... And while we haven't seen that much of Horror Schema in my series, aside from, like, cameos and his name being mentioned on screen, it is safe to assume that his persona from Shining Time Station does apply to my series. Oh yeah, and there's Mr. Star. The reason why I changed Mr. Conductor's name to Mr. Star in this was mostly as a reference to Ringo Starr, kind of like in Diesels and Westerners by Hufflepuff Batboy on his, well, both his fanfiction.net page and his, well, DeviantArt account, even though I don't really associate with DeviantArt, in which he is called Mr. Baldwin. Alright, this is the scene with this is the scene with Diesel 10 meeting George. I am also going to mute this bit, mostly because, well, to avoid copyright, and probably gonna use spray paint for the model. Oh, okay, and basically this scene, and the reason why I put this scene on mute was mostly because was mostly because I decided to include George in it, but I didn't want to find a way of... But I didn't want it to be a carbon copy of the Magic Railroad parody with most of the George scenes. Splodge, prepare for trouble, make it double. So... Oh yeah, so kind of like Team Rocket from Pokemon, even though I have told the Sudvine Zero that I'm not really into Pokemon alongside the Loud House. And also, the music in this scene, even though I muted it to avoid copyright with Disney, was taken from 101 Dalmatians 2 Patch's London Adventure. As well as the only music from any of the direct-to-DVD, direct-to-home video Disney sequels out there. Although I do think some of the direct-to-DVD sequels from Disney aren't as bad as people make it out to be. Namely, 101 Dalmatians 2, Patches on an Adventure, and Lady and the Tramp 2, Scamp's Adventure. And I guess Bambi 2, although I'm not really the biggest fan of The Fox and the Hound 2 now that I'm older. I think Donald was also going to have a speaking role in this scene, but... Donald was also meant to have a speaking role in this scene, but... In this scene... Oh yeah, and originally originally in this scene, like what I said in the description, I was going to use music. I was going to use music cue from Tender Engines, well, Mavis M's recreation of it, and the music from that one music cue from By George, where the one from the scene where the narrator says, as he was chuffing about, Duck arrived with some empty coal trucks. At least, but the both of them ended up getting cut out and replaced with music from 101 Dalmatians 2. And like what I said in the description, there was also the proof of that was also in the credits. It was also in the ending credits. I'm not sure how long I'm gonna do this because I'm probably gonna have to mute that for the next part. Ending theme by SA Music. Kestrel, Ace of Trains, Holy Man, Noe Branch, Michael Donner, Junior Campbell, Present Video Workshop, Oliver 11 GWR, which is, and Mavis Sem, which is solid proof that both of those music cues were going to be used, but they both of them didn't make it to the final cut compared to the rest of them, plus the instrumentals from Tugs. Now we get to the next episode. Clon. Oh, here we go.
Lady the Lost Engine, based on Thomas the Magic Man. The Adventures of Thomas by Shane Acker, Josh Klosner, Julian Mister, Will McGrath, and Chris McCartney. And Journey Beyond Sodor by Andrew Brent. Story 2, The Legend.
Oh yeah, now we get to the second part of the story of this mini-series, Unfinished Business. Oh yeah, and the yards also the Shining Time yards also is the replacement for Muffle Mountain and Ladies Workshop in my series. Well, in my series. Hold on.
This is the engine that worked on this very branch line before you arrived. Her name dropped off like.
Hold on, I thought there was some.
Sun pulled up.
Wait, I thought there was some music in this shot.
Where did you find that, Kira? I just watched.
Oh, I think the reason why that music got cut off was mostly because of how most of the music and rolling stock ended up getting split, well, mostly due to some screw up where some of the bits of music ended up being scattered around.
Ask you if the rumors about another engine being on this branch before I arrived were real.
Oh, you can also hear some puffing sound in the background. Oh, you can also hear some puffing sounds in the background of that. Must have forgotten to fix that goof.
Wow, who's that? This is the engine that worked on this very branch line before you arrived. Her name is Lady. Why is she all locked up? She isn't. She's safe and harm. Long ago, Lady was commissioned to work on the dead.
And also, here's Digby from the Green Narrow Gauge engine as seen in the Railway Fair, and also the whistle that I used for Digby was taken from Stroudley Studios. Back when he was known as Thomas Tank Engine 76's trains reskin that he had done of him that he had done on him on his. That used to be available on his trains website called Tidmouth Works, which is long since inactive. But also, given how that was a reskin of a model from Scarlet 123. It also one of the models that I don't use anymore, given, well, for obvious reasons.
Man, before I took over the company after my father stepped down.
Oh yeah,
he
this is
would
also
teach me how
my
to drive
outline
man,
for
which
Lady in
is
my
how I
series,
learned
since
how
the
to
Magic
drive.
Rower doesn't exist in my series.
My arch rival and childhood bully, Peter Travis Barnum, or as we nicknamed him, Boomer. He was a horrid man and was very abusive towards staff and engines, and would always threaten to scrap them if they are late, and also would throw them.
If I were to make a complete compilation for, if I were to do a complete compilation of Lady the Lost Engine, I will probably fix that mistake.
They had quite enough of his bad behavior. Much to his anger, I was given the responsibility.
Oh yeah, and also that Duncan repaint, and also that blue narrow gauge engine that was repainted from an Ertl Duncan was also is also actually my 009 engine, Sean, because before I made that model of Sean, I had considered including him in my series about Enwin, but I have thought about having him be a engine on the Isles of Man before I changed it and decided to have him be a part of like my series about Enwin after I made a custom model of him from the 3D print from the 3D printed body shell from Open Minded Railworks. Well, the same seller that Thomas 1 Edward 2 Henry 3 bought the body shell that he used to make Horace from. And also, Sean's face, where he's looking angry at Peter Travis Barnum, was also made by Thomas Fan 113 on the Thomas and Friends Wikia.
He was confronted by the workers about how much of a
There's the custom. I think it's the custom videos for Peter Travis Barnum.
He told me if he ever saw me again, that he would destroy her. When his branch was
And I also wanted to give Peter Travis Barnum a less stupid reason to be antagonistic, to be an antagonist, mostly because I saw someone's top 10 worst.
If he ever saw me again, then he would destroy her.
Mostly because someone made a top 10 worst Thomas the Tank Engine characters list on DeviantArt, and P.T. Boomer was among one of them, and he also found the name P.T. Boomer to be too cartoonish for Thomas the Tank Engine standards. And also, he also thought his reason for being antagonistic because of his rival, but because of how he was jealous of Tasha and Burnett's relationship in the original movie, to be really petty and childish. So I decided to give him like a less stupider reason to be antagonistic. And also, this train shot is based on the that one clip from the Sodo map video that I made last year.
I also came along not only acting as a driver again, but also setting up my own workshop here, as well as meeting Natasha and we both became husband and wife. But then what happened? One day I made a mistake. Boomer found out about the branch line and wanted to sabotage it. As I was about to get lunch, he got a hold of Lady and drove her away. He made her go too fast.
I actually didn't realize this until I realized that there was... And also, about that mistake that I didn't notice, about the sound effects being used in that one scene earlier, I actually didn't know about that until I saw that there was no music and no puffing sound effect in this scene. And I was also using something from a project I did at Flightshoe Studio for the bridge. In it. Alright, in this we also got to see ladies crash in this compared to the original movie.
He wouldn't set foot on the island, but he did. I tried my best to fix her up, but I can't get her to steal or make up for the mistake that I made. Have you thought of asking the men at Province Gate to fix her up? I would, but I've heard talk about Boomer being on Soda again. So I wanted to make sure that lady's repairs remain secret. But you gotta agree, she sure is precious as gold. Meanwhile, James was complaining.
Wobbling wheels.
Puffing pistons.
Thomas, I should have collected Mr. Star.
Oh, that steamer's going to your funnels.
Oh yeah. Kinda like the original film, I was gonna include the you, Thomas, a small, teeny weeny quote. But, well, the voice actor for Gordon, Bill, and Ben didn't record it.
Smelly steamers. Why are we here again? What does it look like, you moron? We're eavesdropping on the steamer to see what's going on there. Let's see what they're up to. What's important is that we must stand our own wheels for Diesel, Tan, and Boomer.
Toby's right. Diesel and Boomer know that the Lost Engine really exists.
What engine?
I'm not going to be muting the music here, mostly because,
Boomer is trying to look for it.
well, it was made by Ace of Trains and it was like a fan recreation, wasn't from the original movie compared to the next bit.
The Leggy can get her scrapped and dominate the railway and leaving Diesel to do the work.
Then we better find her first. Yeah, we could help look for her before Diesel 10 gets his buffers on her.
Oh yeah,
Leave it to the big engine.
the whole the stuff involving Bill and Ben was also based on the whole stuff including Bill and Ben was also based on something I did for a Tatmer writing contest back in 2020 for a scene that took place with Magic Railroad. And that was pretty much the reason why I decided to incorporate Bill and Ben in this film. Well, miniseries. Oh yeah, and this is the bit I need to mute because, well, it's one of the few bits of music that from the original film that wasn't copyrighted. And also that blue brake fan that Percy was seen pulling in that shot. That blue brake fan was originally going to be my headcanon for Bruno in my series before I later changed it to an American caboose in All Engines Go, because I'm pretty sure Bruno is one of the few new characters in All Engines Go who's actually based off of something as seen in real life compared to Kana, Sandy, Freaka, Fiona, Riff, Jiff, Alter Train, Titanic and the Carriages of Justice, because except for the one that kind of looks like 3801 from Australia.
How do we make sure we find the lost engine before anyone else does? We'll have to search every part of Sodor as possible. Yes, including Starrow's Colbyfell and Arndale railways. We must hurry before Diesel 10 and his army does.
That's what happens on 2 blood boils.
Oh yeah, and here's the sneezing powder scene, which actually takes place after the scene with like Mr. Star talking to the Fat Controller on the phone. Well,
Sneezing powder everywhere. Let's start laughing now. Yeah! Oh, sorry, folks. Love to stay and clean up. Got to go. Goodbye now.
you gotta love how. Oh yeah, you gotta love how Hector is still. You gotta love how Hector is smiling over the fact that he got covered in quarry dust or sneezing powder.
I'm covered in powder, and I hate it!
Oh, stop being a drama queen.
This must be Diesel 10's doing, Ben. Achoo! Achoo!
Oh yeah, now this is where Finn gets included. Now, well, I think when I explained to Stephen Lines about like how I was gonna have Johnny be the one to start Lady up as a reference to the Adventures of Thomas, I think he probably thought Johnny was going to be a diesel engine when I was talking about the character from the cancelled movie The Adventures of Thomas. And I actually wasn't going to include Finn in my... I actually wasn't going to include Finn in Lady the Lost Engine, but he pretty much ended up being a very last-minute thing. But he ended up being a very last-minute thing when I was... After my latest rewatch of... After my previous rewatch of Thomas and the Magic Railroad back in... After my previous rewatch of Thomas and the Magic Railroad back in... before watching right now, 7 likes. Back in October, as part of my Thomas and Friends marathon in celebration of the 40th anniversary of the original show. And that was pretty much why I decided to include Finn in my... Why I decided to include Finn in it.
Man, and what just happened? You don't even.
And also, Finn was an old OC that I made all the way back in 2018
He's right over there.
to be a part of the Solar Construction Company before it was, like, retconned.
DA-069, you made it. Now listen, me and the bus have come to this island to find the lost engine. When we find it, we will take over Sodor and smelt all the steam engines. They will have no other choice but to turn us into diesels.
Yes, boss.
Oh yeah, and the bit with, like, Diesel 10 saying we will take over Solar and melt... 5 are watching right now? And melt all the steam engines. That was a... Well, that was sort of the first utterance of stuff from the Adventures of Thomas in this mini-series, but But six to watch right now. But this bit was mainly like copied off of the the plot summary for the Adventures of Thomas, and also despite Finn being made from a Thomas and Railway diesel, he was actually a knockoff Thomas and Railway diesel. He was actually meant to be based on the BR Class 20.
But if you're late again, you'll be smelted too.
Yes, boss. It won't happen again.
Now, she could be anywhere on this island, and I want you and Roderick to start searching for her tomorrow.
I will try, boss.
I might turn this down a bit because, well, despite being used as like a fan recreation, I think the original also got copyright. I think the original film also got like little like. I also decided to mute it because I did see like a copyright. So like the original got like a copyright claim of it, but don't worry, it didn't get blocked worldwide. I was just muting the ones that used the music from that were either like it was one of the music that I had to mute to avoid like copyright, despite it being a fan recreation. And also Bear is also actually in this scene compared to the original in the little Tommy Tidmarsh, compared to the second shed that I added, which was like, and also you can also see Bear in that shed over there if anyone is watching. And I also used both of my Tidmarsh sheds in this scene, the Superstation and my, well, Trackmaster Hit Toys Tidmarsh sheds for this scene, and well, given how I mainly use the oh yeah, so prepare for trouble, make it trouble. Oh yeah, pretty much a Team Rocket reference. But anyways, and you can also see Bear in this shot since, well, he was also included in this scene as well, like, and here comes Diesel 10. And also here's the little book that Mr. Star is holding. I'm not sure if you can see it. Not sure if you can see it, but that little bit over there actually reads Mary Marvel, so as a reference to Mary Marvel from season 12, and this was also, and also this thumbnail was before I stopped using and also the train's photo that I used for the book cover was also before I stopped using like content in the style of Scarlo 123's models because of, well, horrible, well, for reasons I had previously stated before. Previous streams, so probably not going to keep mentioning it. Although I will mention it one last time later on. Okay, so
Bucket of badness. Time to face yourself.
and also that crashing clip was also
Bucket of badness. Time to face yourself.
The crashing clip that I also used for this scene was taken from the Wombles episode Running Out of Steam. And also, speaking of the Wombles, I actually also got to watch the movie Wombling 3 for the first time. For the first time back in January. Oh yeah, James's face was also meant to be based off of Sunshine's scared face from Tugs. And Percy's face right here, as seen in this shot, is also clearly based off of Ten Sense's terrified face from Tugs. So yeah, while I was mainly recreating faces as seen in the original show, I did make an exception for those two since they were based off of faces from Tugs.
Hello, Mr. Star. I've got a plan. You're not in it. Now, where's that lost engine?
Well, she's not here.
Oh yeah, and this is also the first, and it also is the first. This is also the first scene where I used the Ertl Thomas that I used for the Ertl pullback Thomas I used for close-up shots, and this is also repainted from one that I got while I was at the when I went to like Doncaster Market back in 2016. I'm not sure if there's anyone else in the live chat. And I also had to refurbish it just for this scene, although it was seen in its unrefurbished condition in one of the shots for the railway fair.
Tell me where she is.
And I was also using it for close-up shots.
That's right, it's Sugar Diesel.
And also that piece of grey plasticine is also meant to be
Well, she's not
the sugar
here.
bag.
Don't be crazy. Tell me where she is.
I also originally wrote it as "Don't be stupid" in the original script.
That's right, it's Sugar Diesel. If I put this in your tank, then it will seize you up for good.
Make the most of tonight, because you won't like it tomorrow. And now you're gonna line up 10 candles.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize there was no
Mr. Starr,
sunhood in that scene.
how did you hear about the lost engine?
Well, Thomas, my father used to work on the Shining Time branch line as a guard.
Oh yeah, and Stephen Lyne's original pitch for this scene,
He was on
Edward is included in this scene, but well, given my exclamation as to why Edward wasn't in the movie, you can see why Edward isn't included in this scene.
when he saw someone running off in her. After that, she was put into storage and hasn't been seen since.
You don't think it was Boomer to you?
Boomer might not know it.
But what will happen if he finds out that she's still here?
Now, you need to get a good night's sleep, Percy.
That's easy for you to say.
I am. And now we're gonna get up to the scene where Mr. Starr has a bad dream. Which is also the second time I used music from the Tugs episode Ghosts. Which is also the second time I used music from that piece of music from the Tugs episode Ghost. Because the first time I used it was in my free watching right now. Most because the first time I used it was in my Christmas Carol adaptation with Spencer as the main character. And also, this shot of Stepney was also stock footage from my music video I did of the song Worthless from the movie The Brave Little Toaster. from the movie The Brave Little Toaster. And my custom black Stepney that was used in the first scene, in the first lyric in the song, was also meant to be a different terrier. So pretty much Stepney witnessed one of his brothers being scrapped right in front of his eyes. So yeah, this pretty much kind of resembles like a... Oh yeah, and this is also Stepney's only appearance in the miniseries, and not counting, besides the mentioning in... Besides the mentioning in the final part where where Bill nearly dies. Oh yeah, and this is also stock footage from my Rusty to the Rescue rewrite with Bear as the main protagonist. I think that was the Trackmaster Thomas that I think it may have been the Trackmaster Thomas that I would later refurbish into... Christopher. And that Scar Lowy over there used to be my original custom Talon before I made the new one. Oh yeah, and here's like some of the scrapped versions of some of the Sodor engines, and also the Bachmann duck that I body shell that I use in this scene isn't actually the Bachmann duck that I got for Christmas 2023, but actually a Bachmann duck body shell that was sent over by mistake when I bought a new Bachmann duck body shell. When I bought a new body shell for my Bachmann Donald, this duck body shell was accidentally sent over, and I would later reuse the funnel from that Bachmann duck body shell, which is not the Bachmann duck that I got for Christmas, like what I said before. It was one that was accidentally sent over from like Bachmann Spare parts store when I was in need of a new body shell when I was in need of a replacement body shell for my Bachmann Donald. And the funnel for that is also being used for my model of Coffee Pot number 1 from the Reverend W. Audrey's lectures, not to be confused with Glyn from the CGI series. Most because I'm going to be including him in a upcoming episode for season 5. Most because I'm going to be including it in a upcoming episode for season 5 of my series. And also shout out for Sabertooth3 for the idea of that episode. Huh? Wait a minute. I can hear the music in the scene. Yeah, basically, Peter House Barnum laughing on a loop. Oh yeah, and there's the scrapped Thomas that I reused in my adaptation of A Part of Me Stayed Behind, as well as my final adaptation of one of Scar Lowy 123's stories that I said before. Although, when I recreated Mr. Star's bad dream in Trains, I used the deceased Thomas from Tobias and the Arcane Merchant for the Thomas in that scene.
Well, I'm afraid I already have.
They will make a very fine scrap indeed. Buffalo bird.
Bye-bye, Dave.
Oh yeah, this is a reference to... Oh yeah, this bit was also a reference to Stepney Gets Lost, and the evil laugh that Ari does is also a reference to the US dub of... The US dub of Stepney Gets Lost.
What if Boomer does know where Lady is? The Northwestern Railway could be in danger.
See, I think this is pretty much also the first time someone has had a bad dream or a nightmare in my series, because I'm also going to do the same thing again in another upcoming episode of mine called Duke and the Unexpected Guest, but I'm not going to give away what happens in it because, well, I'm not the type of person to give away
And
spoilers.
this is where Lily comes into the story. She lives with her
And also, the reason why I was using Wendy from Bob the Builder for Lily's
mum and
mother in
dad
this
on the
scene
mainland in London.
was mostly due to the fact that I haven't made a model of... Was mostly due to the fact that I haven't made a model of Lily's mother. And there's also a cameo with Scoop from... And there's also a cameo from Scoop in this scene. And also, speaking of which, in Duke and the Unexpected Guest, Lofty will also be making a cameo appearance in... Lofty from Bob the Builder will also be making a cameo appearance in it. And it was in a scene that I filmed right after I got the Brio Lofty when I was at the Toy Fair in Doncaster.
Well, maybe your visit will cheer him up.
Oh yeah, I think I originally... Oh yeah, in the original audio clip of that, I said cheer her up instead of cheer him up, but I had to go back and fix that. And yeah, and that clip of... Oh yeah, and that little clip with Wendy from... No. And that clip of Lofty's cameo in Duke and the Unexpected Guest, which you will see once that episode gets released. It also featured something from one of my first one of my first buildings from the Bachmann Underground Ernie range that I had also gotten. It was that alongside a replacement circle for my replacement one. It was that alongside a replacement for the original. It was that alongside my... It was that alongside my replacement for... Oh, yeah, there's my mother. It was that alongside alongside those two stations from the Bachmann Underground Ernie range. I also got a replacement circle since my original one was damaged. Because it also had some missing wheels. What? Okay, I apologize for that interruption, but, I apologize for that interruption, but, alright, hold on, let me turn it back on. Okay, there we go, and...
Gift for him.
Why, honey, that's beautiful.
I'm gonna go.
See you in a bit.
Oh yeah, and also given how the Bluebird stuff still remained intact in this scene, I also had an idea that Lily later gave Lady Bluebird as a sort of little gift for her after she was put back into Steam. After she was restored at the end of the final part. And also, prior to that point, like when I brought up Lofty's cameo in the next episode after Duke and the Unexpected Guest, I didn't have any destinations from the Bachman Underground Journey range. And also, this clip of Henry is also... which is also a recreation of like the first scene in Henry's Forest in a way, was also some unused stock footage from season 3 that was filmed back in 2022 when I was filming that scene, which was like reused in the episode Hughes and Slow Coach. In this clip of Scarlo, he was reused from my adaptation of Pop special from the Rally series. Oh yeah, and this clip is also reused stock footage from, well, Hughes and Old Slow Coach, albeit in color, and judging by the fact that Alfred is also present in this scene, and also since this was also Alfred's very last appearance in my series in regards to the horrible action Scarlo 123 had done. And this was pretty much like also Alfred's final appearance in my series, given the horrible action that Scarlo 123 had done, which resulted in me dropping Alfred from my series. And the cancellation of my... as well as the cancellation of my episode featuring Alfred. And also, the reason why I said a no to pushing Alfred's episode back to season 5 was mostly because of the fact that the episode was mostly due to how it was, the post was pretty much, was mostly due to the fact that I've pretty much stated that it was, that episode has pretty much been cancelled for real. And I'm not going to be reusing it for... and also won't be using it for season 5. Oh, and this shot was also done in trains as well. I think I reused this variation of Duck's tired theme in my unboxing and review and test run of the motorized CGI Duck and Flying Scotsman, which is pretty much the only, like...
A little duck
I was really worried.
Although, and also, given how the Tallinn, I haven't seen the new 2025 push along Thomas and Percy in the Tallinn Railway's gift shop, since I'm in the caravan, which is right next to the Tallinn Railway at the moment. I also haven't got anything from the new motorized push along range, but I really want them. But I really want the Thomas though, since after it was announced, I was really hoping to get that, since I really like how it was like it was kind of like a mix between push along Thomas and the old Thomas, so pretty much kind of like a cross between the old diecast Thomas toys and the new diecast Thomas toys.
A little duck. I was really worried that
Name
if
like
Diesel
the
10 finds
future
the lost engine
looking like a
before
mix
us,
between
it would
Earth and
spell
push
doom
along.
for the island.
I do mean that in a nice way, since it does look a lot better than the previous CGI push alongs.
Yes, Duck. Now I'm off to look at the shed of the old Midsoda.
Oh yeah, this scene also replaces the scene with.
See you later.
Oh yeah, this scene also is was also like a replacement for the scene with James. With the scene with James and the conductor at Tidmouth Sheds. Tidmouth Sheds.
A little duck. I was really worried that if Diesel 10 finds the lost engine before us, that it would spell doom for the island.
So does that mean your biggest fear is that if they do find him, then Boomer will take over the railway and scrap us?
Yes, Duck. Now I'm off to look at the shed of the old Midsoda railway to look for clues.
Okay, Star. We'll see you later.
Oh yeah, I was also using Toad in that scene to represent the faceless Toad brake fan in my. That was in like the train shot, since the Toad in that shot wasn't actually meant to be Toad, but actually a faceless variant of Toad, just facing away from the camera. And also here's Bulstrode. And also here's like scene with Bulstrode. And also, no, since Junior is also in that scene, this does also foreshadow Junior's appearance later on. And this is also another one of the scenes that wasn't in the original cut at first. So cut first.
Do you think the lost engine might be
Oh,
here,
and
Roderick?
this piece of music in this scene was also taken from
Anywhere on this island.
Mr. Ben.
Maybe because
If any of you remember that show.
yesterday.
Hey, those are wrong turning, and you know it.
And it was also after I rewatched the show on the
This island will be ours.
Mr. Ben DVD that I got in a used video store next to the Festiniog Railway, which was where I also hadn't watched Mr. Ben in a long time prior to that. And also, the reason why I included the adventures of Thomas in the end credits of this part was mostly due to how well, mainly given how Diesel 10 does mention like a bit of like Smoke's plan from the original movie. And this was back when I didn't have any plans to include Smoke in my series until until I decided to include him in Road to Row Museum, but he ended up being changed to a friendly Diesel but I later changed him to a friendly Diesel in the special after for reasons like what I said in the Malachi's Trains episode of Murdoch, Annalise, and Smudger, about him being changed to a diesel engine that may look friendly, but on the outside, but on the inside, he was like a gentle giant. And you'll also see that in the next scene with him apologizing to Philip for stalling him earlier.
Andrew Brennan. Story 3.
Now we get to part 3.
Gordon was that victorious.
I also included Pip and Emma in this scene because
So he had to take the train there himself.
I also included Pip and Emma in there as a small cameo, mostly since this takes place before Pip and Emma were... Since this takes place before Pip and Emma were purchased by the Northwestern Railway, I'm kind of thinking of... Okay, I'm actually thinking of continuing the stream tomorrow. I'm actually thinking of concluding the stream here and continuing with part 2 tomorrow, since there's, well, not really any, there's not really any people in the chat, so yeah, I'm probably going to end it here and continue with the rest of it tomorrow, so see ya!